All right, let's try that again. Start again.
All right. Got another couple guys coming in. So, again, my name's Coach Deason. I'm the owner of Above Athletics here in Oklahoma. I'm a football trainer, quarterback trainer, pretty much all 22 position trainer, and a position coach. I've been doing that for about 25 years. I'm a football systems analyst. What we do is we go into high school programs. We do consultants with the coaches and kind of take a look at their offense. We'll take their film and go analyze it and put out efficiency charts and such for them, and then give them recommendations to what they can do to kind of help improve their offense. If they need larger help for installs and things like that, we'll go ahead and put together install packages and things of that nature. I've been working over the past about 7 years here in Oklahoma trying to get teams vertically aligned. And we're doing a pretty good job of that. We've started quite a few little lighthouse programs in a bunch of communities. And, the biggest thing is just getting coaches talking with other coaches and getting everybody on board to try to bring up the quality of football here in Oklahoma. And within that, I've created a pretty unique tagging system and a very efficient way for coaches to tag concepts within their offense or within an offense that we built for them and kind of shown them how to run it. Be surprised at how many coaches out there don't really have a complete system in place. They're great coaches. It's nothing taken away from them. When they reach out to you and we get online with these systems, you see that their philosophies change a little bit. Their play calling changes dramatically, and I believe overall their offense efficiencies come way up. And we've seen that over the film that we watch and that we kind of go over. This is called tagging the concepts. This is a kind of a system that I've developed over the past 25 years. Really, I really got this system from Alex Gibbs back when I was in college. It was just a way of processing the field and getting things kind of done efficiently. And so, got me unmuted there, Coach. You got me, Coach? Yeah. It's nothing revolutionary. It's just something that's kind of simple that we keep going over and just trying to get it out there to help as many coaches as I can. So that we'll get started here. Again, I own Above Athletics here in Oklahoma City. If you guys need to reach out to me, you can reach out to me Above Athletics. Find me here on Facebook at Above Athletics, or just click my Bryan Deason. You can get in touch with AJ, and he can get a hold of me. Just sent me a private message, a DM saying, "Hey, Coach, I really like the stuff you were talking about. I'd like to see some more." This is going to be a basic overview. We may get deep into it depending on you guys' questions and what you want to see, but this will just be a basic overview of tagging concepts. So, understanding the shifts, there's really a strategic adjustments made, before the snap, and we try to do that as much as we can to get a competitive advantage over the playing field, and our competitors. We try to create the mismatches. And the goal of the shift is really to create mismatches against defenders, making it easier for the offensive players to gain advantage. I think everybody nowadays, they run a wide variety of defensive packages, and sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out what they're doing, how they're disrupting your offense, and what you really need to do to get on track to take advantage of those situations. So we are kind of in the business of trying to force defensive adjustments. We want to make sure that the shifts can force a defensive team to adjust to our formations and our strategies, potentially leading to their mistakes and their weaknesses. We try to exploit the weaknesses as much as we can with shifts and motions, just different packages to get us into our offensive schemes that we like to run efficiently and effectively. Sometimes it's hard to get going, during the game. And, sometimes we're out there, you guys running tempo and running check with me systems. Sometimes, you kind of get lost or you run out of time trying to figure out what you want to tell your players and how you want to get the play in. So we see a lot of inefficiency, a lot of confusion within some of the film, and we have broken down where they're trying to get a play in the last few seconds, and you get a false start because the guy's not getting his call, or you'll have a couple guys running a bad route or something, or they thought, hey, I thought it was supposed to be power and we ran trap or something like that. So you're always going to have those, what we call Murphy's Law instances in football. It's just the way the game is played, has to be fast, has to be understood by everybody. So communication is the key. So, what we're really trying to do is create new alignments by utilizing our shifts, so we can unlock different formation types, anything that can enhance the play execution and surprise the defense, and take care of what we're really trying to take care of, which is, scoring. So why do we tag? I mean, everybody says it. Well, sometimes I do better not tagging. Sometimes we do better just playing slow. We get a good play call in, we use up all of our time, make a good decision, so on and so forth. But we always have those instances where, man, I thought I had a good play call in, and I look up, and the defense is now shifted. I got a Sam showing, and I don't know what he's going to do. I haven't seen this defensive structure or anything like that. And so, what this system was built off of is to take care of those instances like that, right? So, the snap shifts are going to allow teams to read and identify the defensive coverages more effectively, and it's going to enhance the offensive strategies. Once you start utilizing these strategies, I think it gives you a little bit of an advantage, one, within your play calling, but two, knowing that you're going to get exactly what you're calling for when you make these type of tags within this system. So we're always trying to exploit the weakness of the defense. By using the shifts, we can pinpoint the weaknesses. Right, we may game plan for the weaknesses. Based off of the film that we saw. So we would write scripts, specifically for the teams that we're fighting. Hey, they line up like this. We know we're going to get a cover two, or some kind of box or trap coverage or something like that. But it gives us a way to get to the play call quicker and make an adjustment faster if they make an adjustment to what we think, we're going to see, right? So it's just, overall, it kind of leads to more successful plays, which is what we're all trying to get to, and, it adds another level of complexity to the offense. So if you do something and every play looks different, but you're calling the same play, which is kind of what the way this is set up, it really makes you look more multiple than you are. Kind of cuts down your teaching time, as far as how many concepts you're getting in. You're going to get a lot in. And it's basically just comes down to what you can teach, what you can get in, and what you feel comfortable with up in the game, right? So the things we always ask coaches, is what kind of team are we? What do we have a system? Do you guys have a system that you utilize? I was talking with Coach Hamer here. What do you run? And he gave good answers. We're 10 personnel. We don't really get in 11 much. We got a pretty good tight end. And we just kind of build our offense around that. Well, this is what this system is based off of, right? We know not everybody has dudes all over the place. And in order to be consistent and to keep you out of trouble, you have to have a system that allows you to build in answers. So, you can always fix your mistakes, during the game, changing situations. Who are you facing? How are you built, right? So what plays can we execute? So we go in and we look at, what plays did you execute? What was your efficiency? Was that play call against the right defense? Was it a coaching error? Was it just a lack of teaching error, so on and so forth. And we try to identify those things with the coaches that we come in with, and we set out a schedule. We go over the plays, we look at them, we figure out how they're built and what they can do to kind of enhance the program. So we always ask them, what kind of plays do you have? What types of plays do you need? We look at what the other teams in the leagues are doing against them, right? What are the other teams that are having success in your league? What types of offenses are they running? What makes them different than you? What makes them harder to prepare for during the week, so on and so forth. And we try to, build an offense that's based off of those similarities of the other teams, but still where you have your own identity, right? So you can say, hey, we are this. We're a gun spread option football team, you know. And so you want to look at what you can do to be more competitive, because if you're not looking, to be the most competitive team out there, I don't think, we're doing our kids a service, right? So just got to ask yourself, how do we install it? Every time, this is probably one of the biggest questions that we get. How do we install it? How much more time is it going to take, for us to do this based off of, what we already have installed? We have to throw out our complete offense or anything like that. And I always tell them, no, this is kind of a plug and play system. This will fit your terms. It should fit your terminology, your formations, if you have basic formations and everything. We're not trying to change that. We're not trying to teach you how to be a coach. We're just trying to show you options that you can maybe add a few terms in, maybe add a few system adjustments to the current system that you're running, and be more effective and more efficient, right? So this is the system. The system in the breakdown, in the basic part of it. Really, what we've done is nothing revolutionary here. We've just numbered the field from 0 to 00 on the other side, or 10, as we call it, and we gave it even spacing, right? And
Hey, Coach Deason,
so, say again, Coach.
you haven't shared your screen yet. We are just looking at
Oh,
each other.
I'm sorry. Let me get my screen share going here.
Thought maybe that you had it going, or no, I didn't know.
Yeah, I probably did, but I'm just kicking it out, right? There we go. You guys see this?
Now we got you. Thank you.
Okay. All right, that's better. So as you can see, we've just numbered the field from 0 to 10 all the way across, right? Okay, kind of even spacing. And we've taken these terms ace and pro. So these are our tight end locations. We have a left and right in the wing. This left and right location, if we don't have a tight end attached, they're just going to be the wing off the tackle, right? So these kind of move in and out just a little bit. Um, you can see we have built-in alignment terms. So we have wide twins left. So this would be over here, so you'd have X and F would be wide there. So we just say green wide, or we just say wide and red. He would know it. The other thing that we've done is we've taken kind of the position nomenclature out of the equation when we're trying to sort formations, right? As offense coordinators, we want to make sure that, yes, our flank is going to be on the outside of our Y most of the time, so on and so forth. But what happens when you need him on the inside? Sometimes, we try to create more than we actually need, formation wise, name wise, to get to kind of every alignment we want. And we found that, that's really kind of a hindrance in order to be able to move quickly from one formation to another. Unless these kids can memorize 35 to 50 different formations, a lot of guys struggle, and they end up kind of canning their own self within their offense, because they may only have 5 or 6 formations that they use all year, when if they could have just moved a couple of guys around and got to, just a little bit different look, they probably could have been just a little bit more successful. So what we do is we take, our X is red, our FA, our scat back kind of guy, he's F slot, he's green. Our tight end type kids, they're going to be yellow. This could be a bigger slot receiver. Someone can block well, good hands, get in and out of routes quickly. And then, of course, your Z, man, get downfield, good hands, just kind of outrun everybody. And that's kind of, the way we do it. And the H is blue. Okay. So he's always blue. So anytime we tag something and we're tagging it by the color, we're going to tag it by a color or number. And as you can see here, there's group of terms that we use. There's alignment terms that we use. The under would be stacked directly under somebody. Twins right. Okay. Our twins would be a term. This twins left would always be these two, and they would always be in this formation. So we could move them to any one of these numbers on the left or right side of the field in that alignment based off of just the tag twins, right? So we're going to twin them up. And then now, these guys will be moving together wherever they go, whatever tag we needed, just like that. We have, bunch, twins right, trips left. We go early, late, just like everybody else does. We have blue, green, split formation. We have wing. We have base formations that we start out our alignments with based off of play call. And then we have the ability to move any one of these kids at any time to any one of these locations on the field just by a simple tag. And that's kind of what we'll get into here is, kind of tagging your formations, kind of tagging the play, and to just show you some easier ways to maybe call a shift to get, just a different look before you rip off your plays or what have you. So as you can see, these are some of our group terms. Our 456 would be a three-back set. So the quarterback would be here. Four is on the left, six is on the right, five is behind. So our base formation that we are showing here, we typically try to get back to our base every time we rip off a play. So we may be in trips right, we run a play, and we'll come back and we'll align in this 22 pistol to begin with. And then we may move, blue 8 or, blue 7 or blue right, or we may say blue 3 or blue 2, so on and so forth. Or we may call twins, or we may say bunch at 7, things like that. So those are ways that we can move personnel around and just give them one term for the next offensive formation that we're trying to get to. If it's a non-standard formation, sometimes we get into wing formations, and I'll show you guys a iteration of that here in just a few minutes. But we typically make those a base formation, and then we make our moves and shifts from that formation to kind of take advantage of the defense. So you can see here we got 45, 56. 56 would be the H, and the Y would be at 6, or we could say green 6, and the F would be over there at 6. Same thing over here. We said 45 yellow. The yellow would populate that 4 location. F would stay right there. So it can give us, a power back look with the Y in the backfield, or with the F in the backfield. So we can get to, pretty much a power eye look if we need to really quickly just by, one word there. So that's the basic breakdown of the system. The system is the numbers, it is the words, and how we utilize the words to get from one formation to the next. You guys got any questions? All right. So what we'll do is we'll just go over kind of a basic install. So in the spring here in Oklahoma, we get a lot of 7-on-7. We have a couple leagues here in Oklahoma that we do 7-on-7 pretty much from the end of February, until spring football or fall ball comes around in August. We'll kind of clean up in July, towards the end of July. But until then, we're playing 7-on-7, or these kids are out here, being trained by other coaches and so on and so forth. Lots of tournaments. So this is a kind of a typical what we would install during our 7-on-7 spring install. You can see in the white is our passing concepts. This was a team that we use, Oklahoma City Elite, and these are some of the concepts that we run with them. You can see the run game. If we have, the big guys come out and do 7-on-7 with us, we'll spend time with them, teaching them these run concepts during the 7-on-7 training periods. And they'll come out here and they'll run this, passing offense too. So we like to get the big guys out there, get them moving. They like throwing the ball and going, running routes and having fun just like everybody else. So we try to do that as much as possible. But as you can see here, this will be our typical install schedule. So we'd have snag and white corner, choice and shallow. Those would be the main concepts that we will work on Monday. On Tuesday, we do white stick, pop, and drive and mesh. And Wednesday we'd have slants, full verticals, and dagger. Thursday we would do hitch, floods, and Y cross as a play. And Fridays we just go over the RPO tags or any play action tags that are associated with these concepts. What you can see is we've kind of bulked these concepts together in their similarities. So you have snag and Y corner, Y stick, slants and hitches. These are all spot type routes. Choice, pop, full verticals and floods. These are vertical stretches, allow you to get over the top of the defense. And then, of course, we have our intermediate quick game, which is shallow, drive mesh daggers, and Y cross, So we found that when we group these together in these concepts like this, they always know during the team period that they're going to have that similar concept. They're going to be running either a tag or a shift or a motion to get them from one to the next to the next. That way it becomes pretty well seamless, as we're trying to build this system here. So when it comes back to, regular season and we get to regular season football, we put it all in. And, we just go over it. We use 40 minutes for the passing concepts. We use 40 minutes for the run game. We try to stick to that kind of schedule. That's not to mean that, we don't have indie time built into that 40 minutes for the passing. I mean, we're showing them how to do routes. We're showing the defense how to do route, recognition during those periods. We may set up defenses to, give us a good look about, what we're going to see during the week, what the next team that we're going to be playing, how they're going to be trying to defend our concepts based off of their film, so on and so forth. So I'll go back to, the formation alignment by numbers. As much as we can get into these formations and these alignments as much as possible, we want to use this system for almost everything that we do, right? So if we're calling, split formations, it's going to be green or blue. But if we need any movement, trying to get to a different concept, going from shallow to drive or, from pop to choice or something like that, and we need to exploit some defenders, we're going to use our motion, movement based off of the system that we have here, right? So this is a kind of, an example of the way we would call our offense, right? So we know we're going to be pretty much a split back formation for the majority of the game, and we have these other sets. This is a way to just give you, other looks with one name call. So typically what we do is we're going to say we're going to be split base, and then we come out, and then now every time we run a play, we're going to come back to split, and we may call, pro. So in that case, the pro is going to be up. He's going to have his spot. The Y is going to be at the attached tight end. We may say ace, right? So if we wanted that Y to be attached to the left over there at the ace, we'd just say yellow ace, right? So that's our formation. Everybody knows that, what words come after the base is going to be an alignment location for whatever color we're trying to move, right? So if we're trying to move green over there to pro, we may say green pro, right? Or pro green, so on and so forth. So this just allows us to keep it, pretty simple, one or two words for the formation, and then just tag the guy that you want to go populate that spot, right? You can see, so over here we got split left. So again, the guy, the closest man to the number or the location that we're calling out, he's going to go occupy that location, right? So in this case, on the number 3, we're just going to say left. And so green would come over and occupy that left space, right? So if we said right, he would go, the yellow would come over there and occupy that right space over here, just like under 6. This that you see at number 4 here, so we could call this twins. So the Y and Z, we could twin them up, and then now I can move them in that configuration to 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want, right? And that just tells them that they're attached to each other. Everywhere Y goes, Z is going to go, right? And if we want to invert that, we just have a call. We call it lights. So if I say lights right, the Z would be on, the Y would be off. If I say, lights again, they would switch back, right? Just on and off. So we could do the same thing on the left side. We want the X and the F in the split ace to switch. We would just call lights left. So ace, lights left, right? Ace, lights. So these are just some terms, generic terms that we use to kind of help us move quickly. Um, we just have basic, route trees. Nothing's different. Everybody's got route trees. Just make sure you have, and you may want to label them something different based off of your base play calls. So like this shallow we have, we just call it shallow. It's not a one or a two. We just call it shallow. So this spot play over here from the Y, if we want him just to go run a spot, we would tell him where the spot's at. We also have terms for the field, to get the kids pretty much within a 2 foot area of where we really want them on the field. Same for the Z vertical, so here our snag is a non route tree route. And so we just call it in, we just call it snag. And we let them know that, hey, that's your route. This is what you do within that snag. The ones that we kind of reserve that for are concept calls. So, when we're calling concepts, these guys, they know what the shallow is. They know what the snag concept is. They know, what spot is, what stick is, what pop is, choice, so on and so forth. So it's not necessarily part of the route tree, but it's part of the concept that we're going to be running. And we try to attach a route tree to each position. So, as coaches, we can kind of keep track of, what we're getting in, just basic offense stuff, right? So this would be our F. We have attached the stick to him because he can be in the Y position, so on and so forth. And then our route tree for our back. His base route, he always has a choice of 3, swinger or bubble, and him and the quarterback can kind of communicate which one they're going to use based off of how they count the box, so on and so forth. I won't get into all that tonight, but it's a pretty unique system that we kind of use to kind of help us be a little bit faster as well. So, we're going to talk about the passing game a little bit, and I think this is, what we do the best and are the most efficient at is tagging our passing concepts, going from one concept to the next, staying within our base alignments, so on and so forth. So if you look at the play that we're going to talk about tonight is snag, but we can get to snag corner, we can get to snag stick, snag slant, and snag hitches out of that. And so on our players' wristbands under snag, each one of these guys would have in red under snag for the red player, he would know what his different job assignments are here, right? So you can see his tag is going to be Indy and it's going to be slant, right? So anytime we just say red, 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 he's going to run this slant. Anytime we'd say green, green, he's going to run the swing or the bubble where he knows he's going to get an RPO or a tag. Someone's going to put him in motion, so on and so forth. Just kind of calls attention to him and lets him know, hey, we're fixing to, change my job within this concept to make it something different than it already is. And that goes with each one of these players. So this is a typical play call example sheet. And what we do is for our base concepts, we'll come in and we'll fill out these based off of the offense that, we're adjusting or that we're building. And we'll come in here and we'll actually make out the tags that will get you from one concept to another. So in this particular example, you can see that this team, the Y corner, the only thing that they need to change when they call Y corner as their concept is they need green to run a swing or a bubble, right? Everything else stays the same. They've got the corner, they got a snag concept or a hitch, so on and so forth. On the right and on the left, they would have a snag with the swing bubble. And I'll show you guys an example of this here in a minute, kind of what the play looks like. The same thing for the Y stick. If you can have this same concept, if you need to get the stick from the Y, we just call yellow. Yellow, he knows, now he's on the stick. Again, I'll go back to the red slant. We call red, we're in our snag concept, and we call red any, that is, he's running the slant. And then if we call the blue, instead of running the swing right, now he's going to run the hitch. So this is, pretty much a way that we can get to a simple tag, change the look of the concept, but stay within the same concept in our base play call. So the other thing we do is we add preset motions to each one of these cards, right? So, and then we'll break them down into, hey, if he does rip, zip, or jet, and it's the red player, this is what you're going to get, right? So you may get, in this example, if we say rip 8, he's going to go pre-snap motion all the way over to the 8 location, and then he's going to run his slant from there, right? So we would build kind of like a flood concept out of that, right? Or a double slant concept based off of having the 2 snags in the corner there. So it's a way to be more multiple and teach a little bit less, but you're still going to be teaching these kids how to run a double slant concept, what you're trying to get a hold of, so on and so forth. So it doesn't shortcut your teaching. I think you have to be a little bit more organized, and you kind of got to know, what you're trying to get to. But once you get this system in, pretty soon, you're just calling, green, green, so we're saying snag green, so now we know the green's on the bubble or the swing. If we needed that bubble over there to the right, we may run him rip right and call it, 7. And so kind of look like this. So here's the base snag concept, as kind of we've got it charted up there. So you've got snag by the number 1, you got the corner by green, right? So you got blue, he's running a swing to the right. In the run game, this would be attached to wide zone. Okay. So, and again, we'll get into how we'll marry up this concept with the run game and run concepts here in just a few minutes. But you can see, the yellow, he's running his corner, and the snag by the purple here. Okay. So the tag for the purple may be a quick out. We may do a side adjust if we want to hold this corner down, really kind of stress the field right here, keep this gap. We may run him on a quick out. So in that case, we'd tell him Z out, so that would be our play call, right? So it'd be purple Z out. So, once we get into a play call, we're going to stay in it until we kill it. And so, it allows you to get 5 or 6 different instances of this play, take advantage of the defense alignment that, that you're getting, or give you the ability to move from, 1 kid or 2 kids around to get you kind of the open space that you need to make your play successful. You can see these play cards, that we build, we put a lot of information on them. We tell them, so we got the passing on here, the pass block, so we sieve to take the most dangerous man of the wheel and the end, so on and so forth. If the 3 tech and the wheel shows up, we can give a call, protect the A gap, backside sift, if the wheel's outside, we're going to key him. If the wheel's inside, he's the most dangerous man, so on and so forth. There's some other cool things that we do, that we tack to our tags and to our route and our passing combinations. We call those a straw rule, which is straight through right at the man. So in this snag concept, we're going to run to the window that's straight through right at the man or right behind him, who we're trying to get to. And we're not going to, try to take any cuts or try to get rerouted or anything in there. So we're trying to get straight to the window as fast as we can to, execute our job. Maybe we need to block that wheel, from that snag route. We're going to run zone to the left. We've tagged it, swing left. We put blue at 6 or something like that. We think we can take advantage of the field. So those are some of the things that we could get to, just by a simple tag. We just say blue 6, and then we just say swing left. So that's a tag. So our play would just be blue 6, swing left, and we know that we can get the wheel blocked. That the corner route's going to take care of the corner and the free safety. Our guys are just going to count these out, get the guy they're responsible for up front, get them blocked, and now we got a same play, different direction. We didn't have to change anything, just one tag, right? So that's kind of the premise of this system. How do you make this play more multiple just by making easy tags? So we're going to look at now we're going to look at the green. So this is going to be again the base play is going to be Y corner, or it's just going to be snag. So we got snag here to the left. So all we've done here in this case is now we've tagged green, right? So we came out, we're in blue 4. That's our formation, and everything else looks, like it is. We'll run the first play. We'll come back out. We may hit this play next, right? So all we're going to say now for our next play call is going to be, green, green. So now Green looks at his wristband. He sees in snag. We didn't change the concept. Now he's going to run the swing in the bubble, right? So now we still got a 2-man snag concept on the left. We still got the corner concept on the right with the wide zone, kind of protecting that corner concept and that snag concept. Make RPO out of that. You guys kind of use your imagination, and you can see, where this is very effective. Then we're just going to jump in and, we're going to call Y stick. So if I didn't tag or kill it, we're just going to run the last play that we just ran. So we still got green on, right? So I haven't changed his job. I went back to base. I haven't killed it, and called a new play, or I haven't reset snag again. I haven't gave him the signal. Come back to just snag the way it was. Snag with the corner, the swing right, the corner, snag, right? That's the base, right? So we're just saying base, base, base. So we would just kick it back off. And so now if I want the swing and now I want the stick by the Y because, the Sam's coming too fast, he's in our quarterback's face, or he's really coming down hard on our H, he's stopping that wide zone. Maybe the strong safety's coming down with him, so on and so forth. Strong safety's making the play out in the wide zone, Now we're going to run that stick, so we're just going to go yellow, yellow, right? So now I've got green on, I got yellow on, so now I've got 2 tags and I've got a new play, new concept here, right? Now you can see if we put an alert on, so in this Z, now I got Z on corner, so we can call this play Y stick, okay? We can call it Y stick, or we can say, hey, it's snag with the green and yellow on, so now we're at stick. And then I would have to tag the purple, okay? So we'd have to tell him purple corner, right? So give him the yelling his name and giving him the signal for corner, right? Everything else stays on. If I wanted to change that concept completely and run 2 slants, I may, bring him in motion and put him over there and run him behind the X and get a double slant concept with the wheel on the outside, and then my tag will be purple slant, right? So it's going to be Liz 2, so we can keep him inside the X there. So we say Liz 2, purple slant. And so that would be our play call. So there again, I've changed the concept, the basic look. I've just made one simple call, and now I've got 5 different plays right out of it, right? Okay. Just try to keep it simple. So we're going to look at, base play for the slant. So we got the slant by red, so this is just going to be red. So we're in snag again. I'm just going to say red, red. So now red knows he's on the slant. Maybe we're going to put an RPO over here on the left side. Maybe we'll put H over there at 6 and run wide zone at him, get the RPO look out of it. I'm still putting the stress on the free safety, trying to keep him back, get over the top of the corner because he wants to be a flat player, come down hard if we're running zone at him, something like that. We're still in our base concept. And again, I'm just calling red, red, red. So we're in snag, we're just saying red, red. So that tells him slant, tells the color, who we want to slant. Okay. Well, let's just say I want to, as an example, if I want a double corner route over here on the left, right? So I just say lights right. So the Y is going to come off, so he's going to go on. He's still running his slant. We would bring the Y on the Liz call. We'd say Liz 2, and now he's going to run a corner route underneath the F. We still got the slant on, and we may still have, wide zone coming at him to the left, right? Get you some extra blockers in. Whatever you need to make your play call more successful. Now you have the ability to do it. Just a couple, simple calls to get there. So we may do, a push tag, right? So now if, we're going to push it out, or Blue's responsible for the hitch. So now we just may push him out to the right, still run our snag concept. And so now it gives us kind of a spacing look over there on the right, right? So now instead of having to call the play spacing, as a coach, I know what I'm trying to get to. I may just push him out there. I might be trying to get Mike's attention to pull him out of the window for my snag route, still holding the safety and the Sam down or nickel, whichever walk, whatever you want to call him. And, hopefully he's taking the corner out of there. We'll bring the corner in tight and run the hitch off of him, or hell, we may run his backside counter, something like that. But these are just examples, of ways that you can just put one call in to your base alignment and your base play call, and now you got another look, right? So now I built a spacing concept with the snag concept on the back. Okay. And again, we can use the play action tags, the rip, lizard, jet. Okay, so rip would be from the left to the right. So if I said green rip 7, this F is going to make his way across the formation to the 7 location, and he's going to run his corner. And unless I tag him out with something, or we have changed his original assignment, he's going to run what the base play calls for, unless he's tagged up. So if I say green, 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 and now we move him, that's a different concept. And then so here's a look from split. So this could be a run play. We've attached the passing routes. We talked about the straw rule, about who he's going to block. Okay, so now we teach our guys that, hey, if you're running power, we're running power through here. If this is your route, who are the guys are you responsible for to block in this play, right? So in this instance, he would be responsible for the wheel first, and then the free safety second, right? So he knows that is in his concept. If we've accounted for the wheel, we've ID'd him, or he's the kicker, we're going to wrap with the guard or something like that, we bypass him and go straight to the free safety. Same thing with the X. If we needed to crack down on that end, or we needed to get to the wheel, it gives us a way to block the wheel, get to the free safety, right? So it helps you build in your blocking, right? It makes it gradable and repeatable, because you know what the concept is. You know what he was supposed to be doing within his path. Did he block the wheel? Was that his job based off of the concept that we call for the passing play? Or did he block the free safety? Or did he run over here and block the strong safety? Like completely out of the whole picture, right? Like he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Okay, so it shows up on film. It makes it gradable. It makes it repeatable. Makes it simple for you to go back and watch a play and say, okay, yeah, this kid was clearly didn't get the guy he was supposed to. So now I can go to his grade sheet, put a little mark, make a little note. I need to go talk to him, make sure he knows what's going on. Those type of things. So this base play would be snag, and then we're going to go green 4. We didn't change anything else, so you can see he's still running the corner. We just changed the location again. This play looks different. We may call it power. We may call it Indy, and get some run in here. And I'll get to that here in a second, how we tag our runs based off of this tagging system and these concepts. So here's an example. So this is a green rip 7, blue Indy, right? So we're creating a divide concept with our green motion, and then our Indy could be blue hitch, right? So we could be saying blue hitch here, and this gives us an inside zone look, right? If the H was going to go straight ahead into the A gap and run this hitch, it would be right there. So we would want to tell him Indy, so it gives him inside zone, and then now he's going to block it based off the front, teach him how to read the front, and then he's going to hit the gap he's supposed to. So on the green rip, again, we talked about rip just being just a motion from left to right. He's going to go to the 7 location, and he's going to run his corner. Now we got a divide concept with the snag over the top. So again, another play that we have in just by alignment, assignment, and movement, and I didn't have to go teach, a full divide concept or put a play in called divide, so on and so forth, in order to get this concept to be effective for us. So that's kind of, what this is built off of. This is how we do it. So, we're looking at, now we're running an RPO. So we may run this same look, when we may just say green, green, and then we're going to say rip 7, right? So now he's still in rip 7, but we've tagged him green. So now he's going to run a swing or a bubble. He's not going to run his normal corner route, right? So again, now I built another play. So I got another spacing type concept over here, where I'm holding the corner back, trying to get over the top, holding the linebackers inside. And I haven't added another play call here, right? I don't have to teach a spacing concept. I don't have to come up with another play name for this concept. I can get to what I want and take advantage of the defense how I want to, just based off of, again, simple movement, motion, and one little tag, right? You guys got any questions? Something you want to see?
Hey, Coach, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Early in your presentation, you had the numbering across the field from 1 through 10.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that? I've never seen anything like that before, and I just want you to expand on how I guess I don't fully understand how you're utilizing the numbering across the field.
Okay, so let's go. Let me get you a couple of reels here. Let's just jump ahead. I'll come back to these formation numbering. Okay, so all we do is our numbering system goes from left to right. Okay, and we start at 0. So 0 is halfway in between the bottom of the numbers and the sideline. Okay, 1's going to be the bottom of the numbers. Our base location, remember I talked about we started everything in 22 pistols, which is what we call this, 2x2, right? So our base alignment is top of the numbers, right? Inside of the hash, top of the numbers. And then we've just split everything up between there, right? So the number 2 is always going to be the split of the distance in between X and F. So if X and F is over here tight, and they're, let's just say F is at the left location and X is at the F location, that number 2 is going to be in between them. Does that make sense? So it's always going to be that split for the number 2, and the same thing for the number 3, the 7, and the 8. Now the 0 and the 1 and the 9 and the 10, they can kind of slide based off whether you're in the field or the boundary. Okay. So, that's something that, gets a little deeper into the install, but you still want to be able to have your spacing and still be able to get in between players or next to a player if you want to. And so that's what these numbers were made for, right? So you can see what we've done here is we've just labeled it 0, 1. Our base locations are not numbered because that's our standard alignment, right? So I don't need a number for those, okay? If you're basing out of bunch right and you're a hash guy, every time you get to the field, you may call bunch right and they know that we're going to line up on the hash, right? Or inside the hash 2 yards, so on and so forth. Your standard alignments and your standard formation names, you keep them, okay? The only thing that you would be adding to those types of alignments would be these numbers. So you can move one guy or a couple of guys efficiently and knowing you're going to get them to exactly on the spot on the field where you need them every single time, right? They're going to be within a foot of it, being within a foot most of the time. Once you teach it, and so how we teach it is we have cones and we put the numbers on these cones and we lay them out across the field just like it is. And we start in the middle of the field just like that, right? Once I've identified my X's, I'm going to now call these guys red the whole time that they're in my program, right? They're going to know they're an X, so on and so forth, but they're going to be in the red group. And all I'm teaching in that red is what the red receivers do. It's you almost kind of pigeonhole them. That's not to say you're not teaching the full concept with the guys when you're teaching your offense. Like, we're not trying to take shortcuts in that manner, but what we are trying to do is identify who our X players are going to be, who our 1s are, who our 2s are, who our 3s are, 4s, so on and so forth, if you got big programs. And then that way that every one of these X's knows what they're doing. It's not like I got to go get a Z and make him come play X over here, right? Does that make sense? If you're a 1 platoon team, okay, you may have a guy that may play X or Z on both sides of the ball, right? In those cases, I'm still going to classify him as that color of a receiver, but I may adjust my tags accordingly. Does that make sense? That way I'm in control of that player. He's not really in control of himself out there other than working his assignment in the football field that's attached to him. Okay. So we've done the left. The ace is an attached tight end. So if I say ace anything, automatically my F knows that he's going to be that ace unless I call it a different color. So I may say purple ace, right? What does that give me? It gives me Z at the tight end locations. Not desirable. Hell, maybe I need him there, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So the same thing goes for the pro and the right. All right. So if I want F at the right location, I would just say green right. That's my new formation. Okay. If I needed him back here in the backfield as a fullback, power I to the left, I say green 4. So now green's going to come over here and populate this 4 location every time. Okay. We have other terms you can see. We have the wide, we have the twins, we have under, we have stack. Of course, we have bunch. The twins right is going to look like that. Twins left is going to look like this. Our trips left is going to be normally F is going to be on, and Y or Z, whoever we pick, is going to be the next man, and then the X is going to stay in his location. We needed to flip those. We would just say switch, right? So we would say trips left switch. So now he knows whoever's there with him, these two guys are going to switch location, right? So if you need, to get matchups, it allows you to make a simple call and get the matchup you need. Maybe, our Z is bigger than our X, and that corner is huge, right? And he's like just jamming the hell out of my X, but I got to get him open on this slant. And if I can't, I'm in big trouble, right? So hell, I may put Y over there and say, hey, switch, right? And so that gives me the ability to do that and know that they're going to be in the proper alignment, proper locations. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just thinking the number. I'm just going back to that numbering, and do you guys ever use that then to introduce splits and all that to your, let's say, freshman guys or your new,
Oh,
offensive guys?
oh yeah, absolutely. Everything is built off of progression and they're building blocks, right? So I'll give you an example. Day one, we come in and we put the cones out here. We've got them all lined up. We got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, left, right, pro, ace. We put a center out there. We put you a quarterback back there. We go 7, 8, 9, 10, all cones all the way across there. And then what we do is we get every one of these skill position players and we line them up over here on the 0 and we tell them, hey, you're a 0, right? And then we tell them this is what rip is. So rip for us is a motion from left to right. And so I'm going to tell them everybody's going to rip 8, right? Every one of these kids in line, I don't care if you have 50 kids over there, you're going to yell rip 8. They're all going to take off from that 0 location. They're going to rip across the formation, go to that 8 right there. And, they're going to go stand right there. And I'll have 40 kids lined up at 8. Does that make sense? Then my next movement call that I teach them is Liz. So Liz is a motion it's pre-snap motion from the right to the left. So now we're going to go Liz 3. Okay, so now we're on 8. We're going to go Liz 3. Everybody's going to come pre-snap. Quarterback's going to call play fast. Pre-snap motion, they're going to go all run over here, and they're all going to stand at that 3 location. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
So
you're, with high school hashes being so wide, do you guys also use that like on, let's say, a trips formation? You tell the number 1 receiver, all right, if it's trips, let's say we're on the left hash, trips right, you would tell them, all right, you're going to go out, don't go any further than a 9 or don't go any further than an 8 for the number 1 receiver. And then the other 2, all right, you're going to be a 7, you're going to be a 6. And that helps them align. Is that kind of how you use it as well?
yeah, you see this slide here. So this is kind of almost exactly kind of what you're talking about, right?
Just kind of zoomed in a little.
So, yeah, so you can see here, these numbers compress. So we only go from 0. Everything is there until you get to the tackle, right? You see what I'm saying? Now, you can see how these expanded. So we expand them by 2 yards, everything all the way across. Anything in between is going to be our base. So in the instance that you're talking about, well, let's just say I want to do trips right 8. Okay. So now my Y is going to be here, or my Z is going to be there. My F is going to be there. My Y is going to be here. You see what I'm saying? Does that
So
make
your
sense?
your numbers expand and contract as the formation goes, left hash, middle field, right hash,
That's correct.
0,
And
1,
what we try, yeah.
1.
So what we try to do is keep equal spacing, okay, in between the kids, and we, we'll always tell them your minimum is going to be 2 yards unless you're tight, right, or wide, or under. You see what I'm saying? And then everything else is going to be a base. So anything that's not a number, right? So we know we've got from right to 8, from the edge of the tackle goes to the tight end, it's going to be right. And so if I wanted that Z at 7, I would just tell him Z7, right? I'd say purple 7. And then he knows instead of having this wider split, he's going to condense it down to his normal number split is about 2.5 yards. So
You guys
we try.
this half numbers 7.5, or do you guys ever do that?
Nah, no, because it's not like we can measure it. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time, these kids are pretty good at keeping their width, their spacing. If they get to where they're, really giving us issues during practice time and they're getting a little too tight, we need them a little bit wider. We want to adjust their split. I'll make them go walk. Hey, you take 3 steps in between you and him, put your damn arm out, that type of thing. So you get freshmen in there, they have, depth perception, with alignment issues, 90% of the time when you get them, that's something that you could put in, just to make sure that they understand what spacing is and what you're trying to get to. Now, if you want to get it wider, or you want to even condense these down, like over here on the left, you may tell them, hey, it's 1.5 yards now, right? So instead of being the 2.5 yards, the normal spacing, if we're in the middle of the field, we're only going to expand it by about 1.5 yards all the way across, right? 2 yards max. And if you kind of keep that as your minimum and then give them a maximum, you can always, hey, yellow, yellow, bump him in, give him that wave signal, hey, come a little tighter, or something, you can always do that. But normally, once we teach it, and I'll go back to this slide. Once you get them ripping and lizzing back and forth across here, they get to where, like, we put the cones out, we'll take the cones away after we think they've got it, and we'll call it. We'll go back on film and look, and see how close they are. We've got an overlay we can put on the sideline, coach. If you got the sideline, and let's say, hey, 7, right? So if we got a guy that's evaluating film, and we call green rip 7, and he's running out past the hash and he's at that 8 number, we're gonna dot him, instead of getting a 90 or 80, he may be at 70% for execution for the week or whatever, So that's something we identify. When we get back out to practice, we're going to grab F and we're going to say, hey, rip 7. We'll rip his ass over there until he gets it, and I think once you keep drilling it, the more time you spend with them, the more replicatable it becomes, right? So if you have a standard to where you're going to say, okay, 7's, somewhere in between the ghost of the tight end and the right, and inside of Y, well, if you let, your quarterback call the snap before he gets to his mark, that right location, or he passes 7 and you're calling it late, that's something that you need to fix, because when, we're talking about these kids are getting a lot faster. Spacing is becoming way more important on offense and defense than it ever has, right? And so, I think that's something that we really kind of have to stress. Get to your spot, do your job. AJ, it looks like we've got some comments. I can't really get my cursor over there to reach them. Let me see if I can tack it like there.
I've never seen that 1 through 10. That's pretty neat. I've never seen that done like that. I appreciate that.
Hey, no problem. Yeah. if they don't line up with the correct split, would you finger them for execution? Yeah. Yeah. We definitely, talk to them about the execution of the play, and that's part of being gradable and repeatable. Um, so I'll go back to kind of some basic alignment terms that we have using the numbers. Okay. So if I say green pro, what do you think I get? So we get green over here, and he would move to the pro location. So I got F attached to the line, right? Well, if that covers my Z up, I just need to say lights on the right. And so now, he's going to come off. He knows when he hears lights, whoever's on is going to come off, right? Say it right or left. Lights is just a term. We can say it lights on, lights off. And I just use a signal that looks like you're flipping a light switch, just up and down, with my hand, kind of like waving, and they get it. So, if we want him at the right location, I would just say green right, so now I have a trips look kind of space, maybe trade kind of look there. And, now we're running the play off of that. If I want twins right, which looks like this, right? So if I want that F tight to the X and put him right there, we're just going to say red twins, right? Or Z twins. So this is on the right side. So Y would come over here and be on the right side of Z, right? That's what the twins would be. If I said purple twins, he would just come over here, and now that's his alignment, right? If I want him to get a little bit wider, I may say purple 9 or top, right? Top of the numbers, right? Yellow top. We're screaming top. He's coming over here. He's getting on the top of the numbers. I may tell him 9. I can tell him, naughty, naughty, right? The spaces in between. Okay. So what you're talking about is, what do you call the spaces in between? And typically what we reserve the spaces in between are for our other alignments. Okay. So like if I'm calling trips right, we may have uh, uh, our Z in between 9 and 10, or F in between the bottom of the numbers and the 8, and then our Y over here, on the hash either side, or where he's at as far as our locations go. Keep good spacing, right? Really stretch the field out, make them, horizontal stretch as much as we can, because when we go to stretch them vertically, we want to take advantage of all of the field, everything that we can. So those would be things that we reserve these spaces for. When you have the numbers, we're looking to get to a specific location. Now, we've came out here. What you can't see on the defensive side of this, and I don't have it on these slides, I could go to my just play and grab it, but we have numbers and we have names for these space areas. So like we call this the sidewalk. We call this area in here the paint, by the lines. We call deep areas the abyss. Of course, we got the flats. We've got over here, we just call these the rails. So we got the rails, we got the flats, we got the paint. This area in between, underneath the abyss, we call this the deep blue sea, right? We'll call it the gutter for the defensive guys. We call it the top of the roof, and then we call it the doorway down here, right? So if I need F in the doorway and I'm saying, hey, doorway, F in the doorway, he knows that, right? So those are more terms that we, as you're building your offense and you have terms, I'm not going to try to tell you, what you need to put in for terms for you. You've already got these terms, all really, what most people use this for, that don't come to me and say, hey, we want to install this offensive package and we want to use this tagging system. What I tell people is, use the number system and then make these additions to your number system fit what you do, right? And so I'm not trying to, teach people football or make them relearn a system that's going to make it more complicated or slow them down. I'm trying to give them ways to speed up their offense and use terms, like they use already. Like some guys may use rocket or jet, for any motion across. We still have orbit. We have push and tear. Everybody's got a ton of terms. I'm not trying to change those terms in your offense. what I'm trying to help people understand is if you're trying to get to specific places and control a player and get more multiple within your offense, there's ways to do it without having to teach 100,000 terms and adding them to your offense, right? And just make it more effective for you. So, and I think one of the things that kind of gets missed, when I'm talking to people about this is, if I go back to the snag concept here, let's see if I can get back. If I go back to snag, somehow let me get back. Once we put this in, so this is shallow, when we run shallow, this is what you get, right? Unless we're tagging it out, every time we call shallow, we're going to get the shallow. We're going to run the corner by the number 2. The blue is going to swing to the shallow side, which is left here, and we're going to have the dig and the post, right? But if we want to change it up, how we want to change it up, and the concept we want to get is like a switch. So we'd have a shallow with a bench concept. So green. So our first go-to tag would be, hey, green. So we're in the play call shallow. We're in whatever formation we're in. We put green wherever we want him, and when we let him run the bench route instead of the corner, right? And he knows that. When he hears green, man, I'm running the bench. So doesn't matter where he's going. I can go back to, hey, we're over here, green starting there. I can take him over here. I can say rip 8, and now he's going to run that bench route. So we're going to have a post. We're going to have a dig. We're going to have shallow from the backside, swing left. And then now he's coming all the way over here. And now we got a smash concept, or excuse me, now we got kind of like a sail concept out of the, with the post and with the speed out there. Right. So you can build in the concepts that you want to get to based off of this, how you set up your offense. Like I've set this up for air raid, and these are what we use for our tags to go from shallow to drive, right? From drive to mesh, from mesh to dagger, from dagger to Y cross, and these are the play action tags that we use to get us to those different concepts, right? So as you can see here on the right, the difference between, drive and shallow, it's both pretty much the same concept, except the back is swinging to the right. And in the drive concept, you're going to have a dig and the shallow coming from the same side, right? So in this case, you can see my shallow is a base concept. My corner and my bench route would be a tag, which would get me to dagger, right? So I can run a corner and a vertical, which gets me to dagger on the left. So technically, I have drive concept with dagger on the left, right? So if you need this to be some kind of man beater, you think that, okay, I watched film and the guys come in and every time they ran drive, it's wide open, or they're going to, some kind of box coverage, or they're buzzing, the number 3 on the backside or whatever. You think you can get over the top of him. You may want to run 2 verticals. So that week, you come in here to your play, and instead of having the corner or the bench route as your tag, you may tag green as vertical, right? So now every time I run mesh, or excuse me, every time I run drive, I'm going to have my normal drive concept would be a vertical with corner, swing right, shallow, and dig. But I know if I'm in the game and I start seeing that man concept or that buzz 3 and he's running down and I know I can get him beat on that vertical, right? I see their alignment. I got them in the alignment that I want. I know they're going to be running cover 1 or 0 on top of that. I'm going to just call it. I'm going to say, hey, green, green, and now green knows he's running a vertical. So now I got drive with the vertical, 2 vertical concept on the backside, right? Does that make sense? You guys got any other questions? Anything specific you want to see? Looks like we got another chat here. All right, guys. So that's about our hour and 20 here. If you guys want some more information on the system and how we use it, or if you want to go through your offense and kind of look at it and see how you can kind of put this in, or if you need help just going through your concepts, making your tags more efficient, feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, you can hit me at Bryan Deason on Facebook. Just holler at AJ. We can go through that. Uh, he'll be able to get a hold of me. Just send me a DM, right? I mean, you guys just jump on. I'm pretty free most of the time. Right now, we got 7-on-7 going. And we're fixing to start a new football league here in Oklahoma. We're kind of restructuring some of the leagues that we have to be more competitive. So, last thing I'll leave you with, guys, is when you're trying to put in new plays, I always say that there's a checklist that we go through, and I always kind of go through with the coaches when I'm asking them, hey, we've evaluated you. We've kind of looked at this stuff. We think these plays would be fitting your system efficiently. Here's order of checks that we've done. We'll give them the templates, to kind of help them sort their offensive plays, so on and so forth. And so what I do is we just go through a check list before we add a play, or if you're wanting to add a play, I think these are some points that you need to go through before you actually add the play. Just ask yourself, does it have simple rules? Is it changing our offensive structure so much that we're going to have to add rules or other terms other than what we have to make this be successful for us? Can the play be ran to the left? Can it be ran to the right within our basic scheme, right? Can it be adjusted with the simple count? If we're getting from power to belly or power to buck or power to counter or something like that, can it be something that's taught easily to the kids to where it can be a count system, or do I have to add another term in order for us to get to those type of plays? Will it work with the passing play and the concepts that we run currently? I think that's something that's kind of gets overlooked. Some guys use a count system, some guys just use alignments, odd, even, bear, whatever. But the next question I always ask them is, can it be a horizontal stretch? Does this play stretch the defense horizontally? Does it stretch it vertically? What category does that fall in? What group of plays, what bucket of plays do I have to put that in order for it to be successful within this offense, right? Can it be easy to read? Can the quarterback read it easily? Can the wide receivers execute it easily? Is it something that's changing the dynamic completely of our offense? So on and so forth. Can it be attached to the run game? Can I get the power out of it? Can it be a quick game, part of our quick game that we don't already have? Will it add to our quick game that we have already? Can it have edge protection built into it? What do we need to do? What tags do we need to make to get extra edge protection? And how do we do that? And then do we need any additional rules to teach it, right? And then, you got to ask yourself, if I'm adding 5 new plays or I'm adding 2 or 1, what am I taking out? What are we going to get rid of? So the thing that we kind of preach is you have to have your efficiency charts done at the end of the year. Go look at your plays, figure out what plays were most efficient for you versus the ideal defensive alignment structure, so on and so forth. And just kind of break your plays down at that. Anything that is 70% efficient or better, you probably want to expand on it and keep teaching it and get better and better at it. Anything that's 50 or worse, and I'm not saying, you're going to have busted plays, just better dudes than you were, whatever. You have to take that and kind of have a grading scale when you're trying to figure out your efficiencies on the offense. Huddle puts out a great, statistic for you. It tells you how efficient you were, so on and so forth for your plays. Take those, break them down even further, right? Figure out what you're most efficient at, what you can add to those plays, or what you may need to adjust within those plays, or tag, or build a tagging system, something similar to this, to help you be more efficient in those plays. And I think, you're going to be getting to what you need to be getting to. But that's all I got. Again, if you guys need to reach out to me, you want to talk some more ball, just holler at me, shoot me an email, man. But that's all I got. So it's Bryan Deason at Above Coaching 24 gmail.com, or you can reach me at Bryan Deason on Facebook. You can again reach me. I'm on Offensive Junkies, Football Junkies, great group. If you guys like to watch a lot of film, talk to a lot of high level coaches, and just brainstorm, come over there and see those guys too. AJ, Gun Spread. AJ's got a lot of resources out here. Go to his file sections, go watch these videos, these TED Talks that he's done, because he's done some tremendous, videos out here. He's got a great page. Guys keep coming back. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got a book coming out. Can't wait to get that, AJ. I'm really, waiting to see what you got going there. And then, join the Air Raid 101. Matt Lasker, he's another tremendous resource. Kenny Simpson, all these coaches out here on Facebook in these groups. The offensive coordinator academy, the defensive coordinator academies, go visit those pages, keep continuing to learn as much as you can, and let's just try to help each other, and anything I can do to help you guys out, let me know. Most of my stuff, my templates, I'll hand out for free. But I do have some, paid material out there if you guys want to get really deep in it, or you want to pay for an install, we can do that too. But anything you need, if you need a better breakdown on what I do, just holler at me. It's right there. AJ, you need to pay some bills. You got some sponsors you need to plug.
Here. Trying to think. I have Kane Gardner next. Oh no, I have my buddy Todd Christensen's next, January 26th, for the next one. I'm trying to think of his name, but we did do the Warboard one, and so guys, if you wanted to look at that and see what that's about, it's really about a lot about. It's an easy way to do analytics on your team, and the nice thing about it is you can use whatever filming system you're using, you can use it with it. So that's what I found to be very convenient. 1 second here, trying to get the because I also have coming up. Yeah, Jonathan. Reach out to Jonathan, and that Zoom. Now, all these Zooms, like he said, are in the featured section. After I record them and after I post them, they're always go into the featured section. So they're very easy to find in the Gun Spread Option Football group. They're in the featured section. And then I do have, let me get to it here. I do have Jason coming on in next month to talk about the coaching pad. So, which would be great because I haven't dove into it yet, but it would be a very useful tool, and he's going to go over what it all does and what that entitles. So I'm excited for that one coming up too. So, and yes, the book is completed. Completed it a couple days ago. It's gotten approval for the most part. Just gonna get the back page done this week. Gonna send it to Amazon on Sunday. That way, it takes like 3 days for them to review it, and then it should be approved for sales on February 1st through Amazon. And that's where I'm gonna start with it. And that's the only place I'm gonna put it because it's free to put it on there. So, and see what happens. I'm guessing it from what I've talked and what I've thought about is that it's going to be $19.99, so it'll be very reasonable. It's like 25 chapters, 55 pages, something like that, and that'll just talk about gun spread option football. So, with that is that is it. Then we'll wrap this one up, and you guys can stay on and talk. But I'll get this posted in all the groups for everybody to watch the replay.